So Africa has to look at itself and look at the whole world as it's set up. And we know in this world, people, countries work for interests, their own interests. Africa's interests and the countries of our continent interests must be taken care of, beginning with ourselves.
Well said from President Kagame. Brothers and sisters, let us watch full video now, and then we can share this together at the end of the video.
So, and we talk about speaking with one voice many times. It has to be one voice. It has also to be loud and clear and effective. For that to happen, we think about working together. We think about representation. And representation is not also just numbers. It's being able to speak out loudly and representing ourselves rather than having other people represent us. So it starts from what has been talked about, that is very important, when it was in the speech of His Excellency President Ruto and His Excellency Musa Faki. Therefore, the reforms we are talking about is how do we disrupt, if you will, the current architecture as we have it, so that it includes significantly and visibly the interests of our continent. Our continent, whether it is human resources or natural resources or any resources we are thinking about, how can anyone interested in the well-being of the people of this world sideline our continent? In actual fact, if you look at the facts as they are, in a few decades, the only place in this world that will be having a growing middle class is Africa, the only one. So it is even in the interests of the rest of the world that has marginalized Africa to contribute to the well-being of our continent, because the growth of Africa, based on this middle class, feeds into the growth of the rest of the world. So they should even be accepting some of these proposals in self-interest, because Africa grows, the whole world grows. But Africa cannot wait to be handed this opportunity by anybody else. We therefore must be on the front line, really fighting for this right, and therefore for ourselves, but also which contributes to the well-being of the rest of the world. What worked 50 years ago or designed 50 years ago, things have changed, and therefore a rethink of a new design that fits the purpose must be into play. There's no question about it. But here what we are talking about is not simply an argument of whether, this is fit for purpose or this. I think everybody understands that point. But there are philosophies, if you will, or interests or that operate behind that. For us in Africa, we are hard-pressed to see that there is a change of these and in the design of these institutions. but maybe the way the institutions are set up, benefiting some parts of the world, those in those parts of the world are not interested in having the change happen because it gives them control, it gives them say over other people's resources even. So it's not that people don't understand. Especially for Africa, we understand it better because of how we are affected. But the other parts of the world that have the power and control, it's also not because they don't understand, but it is because that it serves them very well, benefits them, that they are not interested or they are slow in allowing change to happen. So it's not a very complicated thing to understand. Everybody understands that. What is complicated is to reach this understanding and compromise that we don't lose anything by having everybody benefit as we should benefit all of us. That's where the issue lies. And therefore, the reforms are based on this thinking. We are only looking for the pathways to having the reforms implemented that provide us with less costs than having to fight so much over what is obvious that actually benefits all of us, as I said.
The countries, the continent interest must start taking care of ourselves. Well said from President Paul Kagame that now the time for Africa to consider on what we think it is good to make us to the Africa that we want. Let us start begin right now, because we all know that there is no help from abroad the continent that will come and help us to reach our goals. Expect we Africans in the continent and our relatives in the diaspora. So the aim, the bridge, the one who is responsible for building the bridge to the Africa that we want firstly is we Africans. So I understand the speech from President Kagame and hope you saw that we need to engage, we need to dive in on our own interest. Sometimes we say that, they say that Africa, we don't know that our interest because we see American interest in Africa, we see French interest in Africa and other many countries or other many states abroad the continent of Africa. But we who stay in this continent, we don't have interest, they say. But I know that you and me, we know our interest in Africa. So sometimes we ask ourselves how minerals from Paris flew to Niamey, or how minerals from Paris, from United States flew to Niger, or maybe in Burkina Faso, and so on. So we can't understand this because sometimes we come and wake up that we need to work on our own interest. And sometimes this become difficult because still now Africa, we are scattered. We still worshiping these colonial borders. Sometimes it makes us hard to reach our goals in a certain time that we planned. For example, we launched the Continental Free Trade Area, I think 2 years ago, but till now this Continental Free Trade Area does not work as we expected, because once it comes and business, hopefully that business must conduct in one currency within the continent. So Africa till now we have many currencies. We don't have one currency as African. So this may come as difficult because the value of currency from a country to a country is different. So it is a risk sometimes to sell your product in your brothers maybe in southern part of Africa. So apart from that, we sell or we conduct this business by using dollar, which is not our aim. That Africa, if we have this continental free trade area, let us have also common currency to the whole countries in Africa, that we can make our business easier. Another issue is removing these borders. You know, sometimes we fail, and always being difficult for we to move from one place to another, because once you found there's conflict in Congo or in Sudan, you can't pass at that country to the next one, because there's no peace in the way to your destiny. So we need to remove these borders, and Africa, we must unite. President Kagame also speak that we must speak on one voice. What we need, we must speak with one voice. Let's say West Africa, there we see Sahel region have the interest. So we hope to see all this, what's going on in the Sahel region to the whole continent of Africa. That was the meaning. That's the meaning of speaking of one voice. So our leaders must start take care of our of their civilians or their citizens or their majority. Firstly, not for this Western power. Our leaders must start fulfilling the needs of the people, the needs of their citizens firstly. So brothers and sisters, I hope you understand what President Kagame said on this. Please, also I just share with you what I think on this. I speak a lot of things, so just a few. You may add this, what you think about or your opinion on the comment section. This is fact about Africa, the African channel. We share thoughts and changing narrative of Mother Africa. Sometimes we provide solution of our own problem. Thanks for watching, and let us meet on the next video.